I have a new microphone. I don't have a problem.
You have a problem. You have a problem.
Oh, your brain. Your brain is exposed. Oh, no. Let's put you back together. Easy. I like these brickheads. Okay, welcome back to the channel. My name is Seppi, and I am going to be doing a review for the first half of Ahsoka. So far, Disney Plus has aired 4 of the 8 episodes of this event television. Some short episodes. We'll get into all that. But basically, this is going to be a pretty off-the-cuff review, and it's not going to be anything too comprehensive, too spoilery, I suppose. I guess light spoilers. You're going to kind of walk away from this video with a good sense of like where the story is. I suppose that's a spoiler, but I'm not going to go into too many specifics. However, I do want to start this video off with a bit of a disclaimer. I am in support of the Writers Guild of America, the WGA, striking against the AMPTP for, fair wages and residuals for Netflix and streaming, and to not be replaced by robots, because executives will take any chance they can to replace humans with robots because it's cheaper. Entertainment's going to be fine. But for some reason, Disney, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes there, but for some reason with Disney, a company with all the money in the world, Bob Iger, I think that dude rakes in $22 million a year. They have an issue with hiring writers, or at least taking all the proper steps they need to for a first draft to go to a second draft to become a final draft. Because it seems like with all Disney, Star Wars and Marvel properties, all their shows, they kind of seem like they are just gung-ho executing on first drafts. No shade to the writers, because I'm sure they obviously got hired as writers for a reason, but there must be something else going on behind the scenes that's preventing them from, or at least preventing the showrunners from fully getting out of it what they want to. And that, that's kind of a shame, because like if you look at Dave Filoni, he's a very known, passionate person about Star Wars. Everyone wants him to become George Lucas 2.0 or George Lucas. So it's just kind of a shame that he's helming projects and has had his hand in a couple of projects now that feel like they're filming first draft scripts. So you go into these shows, and Ahsoka notwithstanding, you go into these shows coming out of it with questions, and not good questions like, oh, what's going to happen next? Who are they going to meet along the way? Questions about behind the scenes stuff. Like, Dave Filoni is writing this? Did he forget about this? Why is this character not recruiting this character? When did these two characters when did they ever even interact? And just like questions about timeline and fact checking and lore. Someone's got to ask these questions, because apparently no one in the writer's room is doing it, and they're just skipping over the script doctoring phases. Anyways, I have rambled on long enough, and you're going to be surprised by the answer to this next question. Is the show good? How is Ahsoka so far? Well, like that long-winded intro and my relationship with cheese, it's complicated. Yes, I think it's good. I think there are things about it that are good, especially with episode 4. And there's a big, mild spoiler alert. There's a big bombshell of something that happens at the end of episode 4. But that's not really the thing that makes it good. It's only elevated because the episode was good. Because just kind of skim over my thoughts on the first 3 episodes. Episodes 1 and 2 are real slow. Real kind of, unfortunately, amateurish editing. Like, that thing in movies where, like, I'll be speaking to, like, Willem Dafoe and, tense conversation. And I'll be like, yo, Willem, I got a picture of you, like, in a really cute little pink dress. And then, like, while I'm still saying that sentence, it would cut to him and he'd be, like, reacting to it like, oh, I know you do. Like, they don't do that in this show, at least not the first 2 episodes. And Ahsoka kind of just goes like this a lot. And she just seems uninterested. And she doesn't feel like Ahsoka. However, that starts to improve. By episode 4, that starts to improve. Episode 3 got a little bit better, although it was 30 minutes long, kind of short. But yeah, besides kind of just like an overall sense of like kind of amateurish editing and not the greatest cinematography, even though it looks beautiful. Like one thing I will say about the show that's great, looks beautiful. You can definitely tell when they're using the volume sometimes, and that's hopefully going to be something that we notice less and less as these shows go along and as that technology progresses. But the characters look great. The live action versions from Sabine and Hera into live action, they used restraint. They didn't make them cartoon characters. They didn't make them too dull. there's some dullness with Ahsoka, but overall, I think it's intriguing. I think that's the thing that's kind of holding me along. Again, this is going to be a rambly video. It's intriguing. I think that the mystery set up with where Thrawn and Ezra are, this new Balin character and Shin Hati, appropriately named. Balin and Shin are like really interesting, probably the most interesting parts of this show. And this show is Rebels Season 5. So if you haven't seen Rebels Season 1 through 4, you're going to be a little bit lost with some things. The story is easy enough to grasp. The light side characters are in a race with the dark side characters to find a map that's ancient that leads to a guy who was lost 10 years ago. I get the concept. I get it. The story and the plot are easy enough to follow along, although the plot moves a little bit slow for the first 3 episodes. It's really starting to pick up. The reason I'm talking about this video at the halfway point is because this was kind of going to be my breaking point. Do I fall off of this show, even though I love Ahsoka.
I love refrigerators.
Ahsoka is one of my favorite characters in Star Wars. I didn't want to have to fall off the show, but it was kind of not really interesting me too much. The other thing that was holding me along was the intrigue of Thrawn, getting live action Thrawn. Are they going to do him justice? Is he going to be more like the heir to the Empire, like original Thrawn trilogy that was written in the 90s? Or is he going to be more like the Rebels version, which isn't my favorite, but still not bad? And, yeah, I'm overall intrigued. So I was always going to keep watching it, but I was really starting to feel like it was becoming a chore by the end of episode 2. 3 got better, 4 got really good. And the reason 4 got really good to me, because aside from all the things of like, why aren't they doing this? Where are these characters during all this? Why is the New Republic so goddamn incompetent? Episode 4 got better because of all that withstanding. The story is moving in a more natural pace and progression based on what they set up in this show. Even though they spend so much time in these shows coming up with excuses for why they're not following the natural course of action and the natural story progression. But this one is for its own contained purposes. The story is picking up. The plot is picking up. And the main reason I think the story is getting better is because they're actually focusing on the characters. It's not as bad of just dry dialogue and Ahsoka being boring and this, that, and the other. It's fun lightsaber fights and pretty good lightsaber fights and fun action that's elevated, and it's more impactful because they're focusing on the characters. They're focusing on what the relationships are between the characters. Anytime Balin speaks, it's pretty good. It's basically like he's kind of holding this together as far as like the intrigue. And him and Ahsoka in episode 4, I won't spoil anything, but they speak. And the things he has to say are very, like, people always liken it to Thanos, like how you understand, but you don't agree. He's got some of that going on. You understand Balin, you might not agree, and you still don't fully know what he's after, but he's getting to a point, and I think we're going to find out soon. And big bombshell at the end, which I won't spoil, but it is something that I have been waiting to see in Star Wars for a very long time. But yeah, this was the first episode 4 of 8 so far. So we're halfway through. It's the first episode I really feel a connection between these characters. Sabine, I'm actually interested what's going to happen with Sabine next. Ahsoka, I'm very, 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 very interested in what's going to happen with Ahsoka next. And the bad guys are winning. I'll just say that. I mean, again, I said mild spoilers. You can kind of figure by halfway through a story or a little bit later, earlier into the third act or something, the bad guys are going to start winning. But that's happening. And that's good because Mandalorian Season 3 was just so Mandalorian Season 3. And this feels like, in some ways, a deliberate course correction from that, at least character and storytelling wise. So there are good things about this show. And it is getting better. And that's always good when something gets better as it goes along and doesn't peak too early, or like sometimes the first episode of something's real good and then it's just kind of lame. This is not like that. It's progressively getting better, which I guess is a good thing. I just wish it didn't start at the point it started at. I wish it started at a higher point and progressively got better. But they're doing what they're going to do with it. And so far I'm on board. And that's why the answer is complicated. Is Ahsoka good so far? I guess it depends on you and what you like in Star Wars specifically. Do you like Dave Filoni's take on certain things? Do you like certain things that he has introduced into the Star Wars universe? And do you like Ahsoka? I honestly think if you like Ahsoka, like me, that's going to be the biggest problem you have with this show is she doesn't really feel like Ahsoka. Up until this last episode. A little bit more. We're getting a little bit more. But that's really all I have to say before I ramble on too long. So far, the show is picking up. I think it is getting better. Started at a pretty low point for me, but is getting better. And if you've agreed with anything that I had to say in this video, you'll probably feel pretty similarly about, the progression of quality. And, if you're definitely someone who loves storytelling and character stories, you're definitely going to notice that in episode 4, that's a huge jump up. I don't know if there's a different writer or if they did actually script doctor that script for that episode, but it's better. It's better, and Baylan is awesome. Rip Ray Stevenson, and Shin's really cool in it. Ahsoka's a lot better in this. Sabine is a lot better in this episode, and I think the characters are just being treated with more respect. And one final note: the key to Disney's success, they can't ride Grogu forever. They can't ride Baby Yoda forever, but they have a new option. More shots of Hera walking away. All right, guys, let me know what you thought of the video. Like, comment, subscribe. Are you watching Ahsoka? What do you think so far? Do you think I'm missing the point on certain things or missing the mark on certain things? Is there anything that I didn't talk about that you would like me to? I might do a spoiler breakdown of like the episodes kind of maybe one by one each video. But yeah, just let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Share this video with your mom. Share this video with your dog. Hera in those orange pants. Sheesh.